And yesterday afternoon actually, I lost a hawk pick down a drain at a petrol station, so not too pleased about that. I'm considering going back there late at night with some sort of grabber device and reaching in that drain, and I'm going to try and retrieve my lost goods. And I just wanted to say these will be the picks for me then, obviously. So I was messing around with the Neural DSP Cory Wong plugin again, and I occasionally get people dropping me messages on Patreon and stuff like that, just saying, you know, I've had some time with one or two of these other things, do you have an opinion on them? Or, you know, I'm thinking about maybe buying a device or something, could you give me your opinion or any that sort of stuff? You know, I occasionally get asked these things, and I was thinking about so like a Neural DSP plugin, you can trial them for 14 days, right, and that won't cost you a thing, assuming you've already got a setup where you can run a plugin, that is, you know, so you've got your PC and you're going to have an audio interface of some kind, whether that be something like a Focusrite Scarlett or a more expensive interface. I think you're basically going to be looking at anywhere between £50 to £200 probably for an audio interface that will do the job. Yeah, so there's a small barrier for entry, but you can basically try any of the Neural DSP plugins for 14 days for free, and I think some of those sound really good and stuff. The things that people generally will be asking me about would be like maybe a Line 6 Pod Go or a Line 6 HX Stomp, both of which you'll know on the channel I use pretty much all the time and really enjoy. And so this costs me 379 quid, I think, and the HX Stomp I think at the moment costs 400 quid. So on the face of it, they're more expensive than the plugin, right? I think the plugin at the moment is about 120 quid, something like that. So maybe 3 plugins would get you one of these or around that, or the HX Stomp. If on the face of it you can get some really decent tones out of the Neural DSP plugins or any other plugins, Neural DSP are just the ones that I've tried and thought sound decent. In theory, you could be doing more or less everything you could do with one of these with a plugin, right? So you'd save yourself that hassle. So I was thinking about that, and thinking about, you know, where the good places are to spend your money. As kind of gearheads and guitarists and stuff, most of us probably have some sort of limitation to the amount that we can spend, and therefore you're thinking about where to place your dollar or your pound or whatever. And I was thinking, well, actually, if you end up buying a plugin, presumably you're already able to use it and stuff, and you've got the interface and that stuff ready to go. I'm assuming that's the kind of people that the plugin is going to be workable for, you know, people that are working in a studio setting or have a home recording rig and have their interface and stuff ready to go. That money is never going to come back to you. If you bought a Pod Go or something like that, for the time that you've got it, it's cost you 379 quid or whatever, and then one day you might come to sell it, and depending on how long since you've made that initial purchase, you might get back some of that money, right? You're probably never going to get any money back for a plugin. I'm not sure that plugins ever increase in value, and I'm not sure you can ever really sell them again properly, although I could be completely wrong on that. Maybe there is a second-hand market for plugins, who knows. But there definitely is a second-hand market for used gear. That would be, I think, why I would probably go down the hardware route before I went down the plugin route, if I was thinking about where to actually put my money. If I'm thinking I need to part with some amount of cash, if I buy a physical item, at some stage, if I don't get on with it, or if I move on to another item, I can sell it and recoup some of the money at least that I paid for it. If I buy a Neural DSP Pliny or Cory Wong, a year or two down the line, when I find another plugin that maybe I'm going to use and favour, I don't think there's any chance that I'm going to be able to get my money back that I spent on the plugin in the initial stage. So I don't know, I think I could get comparable tones out of the Helix stuff. Some people might be a little bit snobby about what Line 6 do. I kind of think that's a little bit misplaced and unfair, and certainly in the modelling world I think Line 6 have probably done quite a lot of the legwork to get modelling and the competitive space to where it is today. One of the other kind of key areas to consider is what are you using live. So I know that I can use the Helix or the Podgo or the HX Stomp in my studio, as I do all the time. I say studio, it's a bedroom in it. I couldn't take a plugin out live, so the kind of work that I put into the plugin to get things sounding how I want them is never really going to translate anywhere outside of this room. Whereas the time and the work that I can put into the Podgo or Helix or HX Stomp presets, I can literally find a way to recreate that live, you know, whether that be with a power cab or going straight to front of house or in conjunction with a real amp. The work that I'm doing creating presets here does actually translate, and I can use it in the real world, whereas the plugins I can't so much do that. So when it comes to that kind of balance, that's why I think, given the choice, you know, although it's cheaper to buy a plugin, I still feel like the real thing for now does make more sense. And it's not really just the same as like buying a CD or whatever, because there's two kind of uses, isn't there? There's the live and there's the studio. A physical device can do both, whereas the state of play, as I understand it for plugins, is that generally people don't tend to use them live. Not that there's any reason that that's not necessarily possible, but I don't think it's the way that the industry is going just yet. Now, of course, there's also the awkward kind of truth that at some stage this probably won't be worth very much. You know, like you can get very old pods and Pod XTs and other iterations of the pod for fractions of what they would have cost new. So I don't ever think that these are going to increase in value like, say, a vintage guitar might, or certain pedals seem to. Don't think there's going to be any stage where I'm going to earn more than I ever paid for this device, but I think it will hold its value certainly in the short term. And you know, if for any reason I didn't get on with the device sort of 1 or 2 years down the line, generally you could expect to get back at least some of what you paid for that item. So that's kind of my summary and thoughts on this for what they're worth. And that's why, you know, if someone was to ask me, would you buy this plugin or would you buy this physical device, I think 9 times out of 10 I'd be more inclined to buy something physical. Don't know if that helps at all. Those are my thoughts. Thank you for watching. If you could like and subscribe, that'd be cool. And check around the channel, there's other stuff, there's lessons and chat about gear and all that sort of stuff. Hopefully as a guitarist you might find some of it interesting, some of it you probably won't. But thank you for watching, and I'll catch you for another video soon.